if, for example, you have a router, which is the kind of device will manage the network inside your home with your live box as a small router. But on data center, you will have big router on top of the rack and a small switch on top of many racks and aggregate. You will have a CPU, small one, and a big ASIC to manage the router, and the ASIC will be managed by the CPU, but the ASIC will do all the complicated and very quick stuff.
It's a good example. So you will host the operating system or the specific network operating system on a CPU, which can be a generic one. But imagine that, for instance, Cisco is building this router. It's going to be a router or a switch with 48 ports. I need to manage these 48 ports. I need to develop a very specific chip that will have these 48 IOs, a huge throughput connected to my CPU. But as Cisco, I have the budget, I have the volume, and I have the budget to have designed a very specific chip to manage all this routing. But if I'm a startup, or if I want to build my own router with, let's say, a couple units to produce, it will be completely insane to develop a chip on demand because I will never have the money back.
Maybe what we can explain there is what we call the cycle inside every semiconductor system, and explain what will be the difference between the three. And after we will focus more on the CPU. What is a cycle? What we call a processor cycle or a semiconductor cycle?
You mean at instruction level?
Yes.
So even, let's say, if we go back in time 40 or 50 years ago, where you had some more, let's say, early CPUs or 60809 or 6502 or Z80 that you may remember, the datasheet was only a couple pages. You had something like 50 or 80 very basic instructions. So for instance, in one clock cycle, at this time, it was something like 1 microsecond, so 1 million operations a second. It was possible to do a very basic computation, addition of 2 8-bits number, so below 255. And in one clock cycle, you had the possibility to do this basic instruction. Now, what has changed is that the instructions are much, much more complex. So in one clock cycle, you can, in some cases, multiply 2 vectors,